booth. Talking football north to south, from high school fields to the Super Bowl, spitting fire, ain't no doubt. Tailgate talk, where the legends speak, breaking down the game all through the week. From the gridiron to the stands, we got the scoop right here in our hands.
Here we go.
All right. We are live.
Good evening again, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful Thursday evening and another edition of Tailgate Talk Nebraska. Brian Denton here with us. We're in the home of Mr. Jeff Green. Thank you very much for having us here. And the NFL, oh, wait a minute, that's over, isn't it?
Yeah, we got a lull. Kansas City got beat. Philadelphia's the champions. And we don't want to talk about that no more.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Yeah, we're done with that.
So, where are we at now? We are coming into March Madness. NCAA basketball is heating up.
The greatest tournament in the world.
Well,
yeah.
as of right now, but if NCAA football makes a few tweaks, we may have a challenge on that one. We'll
Not
get back
yet,
to
though.
that sometime. Conference championships are around the corner, and we are looking forward. There are some big time tournaments coming up, and who would have ever thought this? NCAA football this year, we did not have an SEC team in the championship game. But if you look at the top 25 in the NCAA basketball rankings right now, it looks like an old football ranking with all of those SEC teams in there right now. I believe Auburn is ranked number 1 right now. We haven't seen that since Cam Newton played football there.
8 SEC teams total.
8 SEC teams up. Now Tennessee gets upset last night by Ole Miss, and I think they were sitting in the 4th spot, if I'm not
That is correct.
mistaken. Ole Miss beat them. So that's the thing that I love about college basketball. Upsets can happen all over the place.
Absolutely.
And guys, the SEC right now does look like the best conference in college basketball.
Well, in bracketology, they have 12 teams that are, if the brackets were start today, they would have 12 teams in.
Yep.
Big 10 sitting at 11. Big 8 or Big 12, 8 teams.
Yep.
Then it just falls off from there. 4, 4, 3, 2 for the Big East, Mountain West, ACC. There's just no competition.
Yeah.
But the SEC, their 12 teams, they're going to be all scattered in them top 5 seeds.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
where the Big 10, their highest ranking guy is Michigan State.
Yeah.
And they're looking at a 4 seed maybe?
Yeah.
3 seed if they get lucky?
This year, the SEC is by far the best conference.
Yeah.
Like, there's no argument at all.
Well, that's the beauty of this. Because now we go to the tournament, they got to prove that shit.
Yeah.
You know, because SEC, are they a basketball conference now? Because they didn't really show up in football.
No, the only team that showed up in football during the playoffs was Texas. And I know Jeff doesn't have much love for Texas.
I just feel like Texas got a good pull to get to where they were.
They did. And Georgia did okay.
Georgia
Didn't
did
have
okay.
their quarterback.
They should have beat.
The thing I
Notre
like
Dame.
about this is right now you look at bracketology, you look at the last teams out, the last in, everything else. Right now, the Huskers are sitting on that bubble. They are one of the last 4 in.
The last 4 in are Ohio State, Arkansas, Nebraska, and Boise State's the last 1 in.
But what can change that all in a hurry is upsets in conference tournament.
Yep.
And so, you know, I love looking at bracketology throughout the year. I love seeing what's going on with it. But you can never put anything on that because when that conference tournament comes around, you may have a team out of the American Conference that may look like they're a lock to go to the tournament. They may get upset.
Yep.
And don't make it.
And that throws a monkey wrench into everything.
And you get a Butler or a Mason State.
Loyola.
You know?
Chicago, yeah. But the thing about it is when you look at the SEC and you think college basketball, what do you think? You think Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky has been...
Villanova.
Yep.
The
Big East.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are.
That's all right, Jeff. We're okay. We'll get back to that.
Florida's had some hit and miss.
They had a couple years there when they had Joakim Noah, and they they did win a couple back-to-back.
Yep.
But
They've been-
SEC basketball, you think Kentucky. ACC basketball, you've got Duke and North Carolina.
Yep.
They're struggling this year. Duke's
North
doing
Carolina
okay,
are first 4 out.
Yeah, North
At
Carolina's
this point.
sitting there. And then you look at the two teams that jumped ship from the Big 12, went to the SEC, Texas and Oklahoma. They're both on the bubble. They're sitting on the outside looking in right now. They need to do something in their conference.
Texas is 4 out, and Oklahoma is the first team out.
Yeah. So as of right now,
Yeah.
would they be sitting in that spot if they were still in the Big 12?
See, that's really hard to say because the Big 12 is really competitive this year.
The Big 12 is very competitive, and for the first time in how many years, Kansas isn't even in the top 25.
No, but they're still looking at a 7 seed.
6 to 7 is what
Yep,
they've got.
6, 7 is where it's kind of folded.
But they started off as a preseason number 1.
Yeah.
And look how far they've dropped.
They're
Yeah, they dropped big games to Creighton. I mean, outside of the Big 12,
Missouri beat them.
Missouri beat them, and they beat them at home. Both of them.
Yeah.
Both those losses were right there in Kansas, and
Yep.
that hurts.
Who'd they just lose to? They just lost here a couple
They've
games.
lost their last 2, Texas
Yeah,
Tech and Houston.
yeah, Texas. Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah.
Houston's tough.
Houston's a very
Houston's
good
good.
basketball team.
Yeah.
Houston's good.
They're long, they're fast, and they hit the 3.
Yep. And Arizona State, they're down at the bottom. They
Yep.
were picked down at the bottom, and they held true in basketball, and like they did in football. They stayed at the bottom in
Yeah.
the Big 12. But again, a team like that, they make a run. And you look at it. You look at Nebraska right now. Their overall record is good.
Yep.
Their
And they got good
conference
quad
record-
1 wins.
Yeah, and their conference record is losing right now.
And it's because they got really bad losses
Mm-hmm.
to teams they shouldn't lose to, like Penn State, Rutgers, Maryland.
What about the game the other night? Double overtime.
Ah,
114 to
Minnesota.
Ohio State.
That was a winnable game.
That was Ohio State.
Or Ohio State, yes.
Yeah, but Ohio State's one of the last 4.
It's still a winnable game.
Yeah.
But
But they lost to Minnesota right before they lost to Ohio State.
their loss to Minnesota is what really kicked them out at this point.
Yeah, because they were in the last 4 buys
Yeah.
a week ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now they're right there on the bubble again.
Yeah.
If they have a bad Big Ten tournament, we might be playing NIT.
Well, and that's the thing about college basketball. I mean, you've got your locks. You've got teams that are locked in right now. But it's those ones that aren't locked in right now that are fighting for their life, that need to do something in those conference tournaments, that make those actually worth watching.
Not to harp on the Nebraska thing because I'm a Husker, but
You are?
that they played so well against Michigan.
Mhm.
They made that ugly and they took it to the last shot.
Mhm.
And then to turn around and lose to a bottom feeder.
Mhm.
I mean, it just makes no sense.
Okay, but let's go back. Let's look at the SEC. Let's look at the Big Ten. Let's look at the Big 12. They are the 3 power conferences in college basketball, right?
Absolutely.
Any night you have to go somewhere and play a conference opponent in basketball in those 3 conferences, it's not a gimme. I don't care if it's Houston going out to Colorado, who is the worst team in the Big 12 right now. There's a chance they can get beat. Look what Ole Miss did to Tennessee last night.
Yep.
Ole Miss isn't ranked.
No.
And I don't even know if Ole Miss is even in the conversation about going to the NCAA tournament right now.
No.
But they beat Tennessee.
I think they were like one of the first ones out of the SEC, and they were saying that it would be a shame because they only have like 6 wins in their conference, that they don't deserve to be in the tournament.
Right.
So I was listening to some stuff that it's really deep this year. Like conference records are not that good
Right.
that are making it in the tournament this year.
I mean, who remembers a few years ago, and Brian, you may be too young for this, but you had teams who had shots at going undefeated. The UNLV team, Jared Tarkanian,
The towel sucker.
Duke had some years where they looked like they may go undefeated.
Kentucky recently, not too long ago.
Yeah, but that's far gone. I don't think you're going to see a team go undefeated in NCAA basketball again. I really don't.
Especially now that you're out of conference stuff, no one's dodging anybody anymore.
Right.
No.
I mean, they get the Creightons, the Memphises. They're putting them on their schedules.
Yeah.
And good for Memphis and Creighton and your smaller markets.
Right.
For getting those games.
One thing that basketball's been really hit by is it's always been a thing, one and dones, or it's always been a thing where college football hasn't.
That just started not that long ago. I mean, it used to be
Kentucky was the first one that really did it.
Yeah. Most of those guys that were good were there for at least 2 years.
But like your Kevin Durant's, they did the one and done, and then
Durant was there for a few years.
He went 3 years, I think.
Did he?
2 or 3. Yeah. Yeah, he was there.
Who's the guy that went to Texas?
That
went for 1 year and left.
There's been a few.
It wasn't.
But they changed that rule that you only had to play 1 year.
Well, and look at the guys who don't even go to college.
Yeah.
That's not okay anymore.
Not a thing anymore.
Well, but I mean,
unless they're from Europe.
You've got LeBron.
Right. LeBron was the last one. Then they changed the rule.
Was he? I thought there was one other one after him.
I don't think there was.
I don't think there was.
But like Garnett didn't go to college.
No.
LeBron didn't go. It started with Moses Malone.
Kobe didn't go.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Kobe didn't need to go.
But it's interesting to think. You think about guys like Kobe and Garnett and James. Where would they have went to college?
Well, James was supposed to go play
Ohio
with
State.
at Syracuse. He was supposed to go play with
Carmelo.
Uh-huh.
Or Ohio State is one.
I thought Ohio State was his.
But he was gonna because Carmelo was a year older.
Mm-hmm.
If Carmelo would have stayed another year, I think he was gonna go there. But he obviously he didn't need to go.
Carmelo was so overrated.
He won a national championship.
He did win a national
championship. He did.
So taking a look at this, who do you see winning the SEC tournament this year?
I think Florida looks awful good.
Yeah, they're gelling at the right time. And those guards, they're fast, they're silky, and they play really good defense.
And they got 2 wins in the top 20 or in the top 10.
Top 10
for the first time.
And weren't they were back to back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Florida looks awful good. Auburn is the number 1 team, but that's tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
Good.
It's so tough.
Bama is good.
Georgia's good.
But Bama's good,
Tennessee.
different than everybody else. Bama has a good front court.
Mm-hmm.
They're good in the paint. They play stingy defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to drag the game down.
But that's what it takes to win a tournament.
Yes.
You got to have those guys that are, when you look at what it used to be, you look at the NCAA back in the day. You had your Ewing, your Olajuwon, your Sampson, your Robinson, those guys. It was a big man's game back then.
Yep.
Now it has shifted, and you want those
Definitely
speedy guards. You want that out in transition.
But even your big guys, they got to be mobile and they got to be able to shoot.
Right. And how many big guys do you see putting up the threes anymore? They'll pop out off a screen, set up behind the top of the tee.
Well, you got Wemby in the NBA. That's one of the better sharpshooters for a big guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you go to the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten's wide open.
It's definitely wide open because no one stands out.
Right.
Michigan State, as good as their record is, do you have faith in them to beat who'd they lose to last week? Michigan, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. In Michigan, I'm not saying they're not good. I'm just saying they'd be middle of the pack in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State, would they be in the top 4 in the SEC? I would.
You don't know.
You don't know, but I wouldn't have high confidence in it.
Yeah, and that is what's going to make the NCAA tournament so good. Is you've got all of these teams coming in. Some of them have played each other already this year, but some of them haven't. And that's where you get your upsets.
And we're going to get matchup problems. They're going to play teams that play a whole different style of basketball that they haven't seen before. What was the Cinderella last year? That little school. What was the gritty little school last year that made it to the Sweet 16?
I don't even remember.
Anyway, they're nobody. And they play a very gritty defense, and it's just styles that other people haven't seen before.
Right.
Well, you take a look, like we talked about earlier, the Loyola Chicago, even Butler, when they made the national championship game those years, nobody expected them to jump up and do that.
No.
They came out of nowhere that year.
Would love to see Nebraska finally get that win.
Well, that would be nice, but they can't win away from Pinnacle Bank, and we ain't having the tournament here, so most likely we're going to wait another year.
Well, the thing is, when you look at that NCAA tournament,
Nebraska's got to put together a season where we're getting a 7 or 6 seed. Until we get to it, we're going to be playing a better team on the road, and damn, we just don't do good there.
It's just surprising. Nebraska is one of them teams that pulls off the wins they shouldn't, but then lose the games that they shouldn't. It's like
it's mind-boggling. It just makes your head hurt.
They can't get over the hump. It just doesn't seem like.
And I like Hoiberg, but there's times that we look like we're just unorganized out there, and we're just not. We play decent defense majority of the time, but our offense is inconsistent at best. We got droughts. We have 3 and 4 minute droughts in the middle of games all the time, and you just can't win consistently like that.
Well,
you just can't.
You look at Iowa State didn't hurt from losing Hoiberg by any means.
No, they're still one of the top teams program in the nation right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think the team you were thinking of last year, Jeff, was San Diego State.
Yeah.
Yes, San Diego State.
Yeah.
They had 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah, but last year was a good run.
Yeah.
They had the little white guy that just wouldn't quit.
The year before, I think, they made it to the Final Four the year before.
Yes.
Not last year, but the year before.
It was the year before they made it.
Because that was the year where we had Final Four teams. Connecticut was the only one.
Yeah.
And the other 3 were just like nobodies that jumped up, and I think that's what you're going to start seeing with things like NIL money.
Well, you can build a whole program in basketball with 3 people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then just fill in with role players.
Yeah.
So like you look at Kansas State when they had the run back when they had Beasley.
Yeah.
So they brought Beasley in. They got really good for a while. Beasley left. They had a couple years there, and then they fell off the table.
Oh, make it
guys.
But look what they did a couple years ago. They made that great run. They had that little point guard.
Yeah, Vaughn. Vaughn. What was his name?
I know.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They made
it to the Elite Eight.
Oh yeah.
And they were almost in the Final Four.
Yeah.
I can't remember what.
I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, he was just a little kid.
Yeah.
But he's so quick and
took over a game.
Mm-hmm. Frank Martin was the coach, or not Frank Martin. Prince. No. Prince was their coach.
Prince was the football coach.
Was he?
Back before Snyder came back.
I can't remember who the coach was down there now. It's hard with the one.
Well, they had Frank Martin for a while.
Yeah, but
and then he left.
Bear with us, guys. We're football guys, and we're trying to make the transition. But our love is football. That's why he's bringing up Prince, because that's on his mind. I don't know the coaches of Kansas State.
Yeah.
I know that they play tough,
yeah.
and they're kind of like Nebraska. They have wins that they're not supposed to get, and then on the next night they turn around and lose to people that shouldn't touch them.
Yep.
And when it comes to tournament time, those teams get beat early.
But like this year is a prime example. Are we ever going to see a consistent good program in college basketball anymore?
Absolutely.
So no, listen. Just think about it. Because with NIL and the transfer portal and all that, and it only takes.
But right now, there's no regulations on NIL. So the rich are going to get richer, which means we're going to have solid programs that consistently do well year in, year out.
But the reason I say that is because you have teams like Kansas this year that fell off. You have teams like North Carolina that's on the bubble to even make the tournament when they're a prominent. That's what I'm saying is like, are you going to have teams like these random schools. Auburn came from nowhere.
The
They
problem
weren't
is
anything
with
last
NIL,
year.
you're not going to have a program that walks in and says, "Hey, we're North Carolina. You should come play for us." And they go, "Oh,
Right.
okay." Now you got to have the money. You got to pop up the money, and the teams that consistently pop up the money are going to have those consistent programs going forward, which might knock a Duke or North Carolina out of the process.
Right.
Where Alabama's and things like that, teams like that, are going to now level out at the top.
But a prime example is Auburn.
Auburn.
Where'd Auburn come from?
Well, Auburn's got money.
Yeah, but last year they were nothing. Or a middle of the road team,
Middle
if
of the
nothing
road.
else.
Yeah.
But now they're the number one team in the nation?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? Like,
But the thing is, I think what you're going to
Had
see.
a good off season.
This is what I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see teams that keep their players together for 2-3 years. Those are going to be the teams that you're going to see winning these tournaments here on out. Because,
another one's Connecticut fell off this year too.
yeah. But what does it take? You got to have that cohesive gel
Yes.
when you're building your team. And if you can get guys who can be there for 2-3 years even, and you can build that team with them and you can keep them there, that's why Kentucky always gets the top recruiting class in the nation, but they never do anything. And when's the last time they won the NCAA tournament? It's been
a long time.
Back in the 2000s, I think, is when they won it last.
Another one for football is Texas A&M, but they never do anything.
Well, but what I'm
It's the
saying
same
is
thing.
Kentucky gets these guys who are there for 1 year, and
Let's
then they
not
go into
let's
the
not
draft.
give the Aggies more credit than they're due.
But when you have the top four players in the nation coming to play for you, they all want the ball.
Yeah.
So you gotta find a way
it's a
to
team
get it
sport.
around. It is.
And from our experiences in the NBA, you have to have a special coach to be able to deal with
Egos.
Yes.
and ball hog and how to get the ball distributed between those people so that they're effective.
Yeah.
And that not every coach can do that.
No, and you look at back in the day when Kobe and Shaq played together. They were both big time scorers.
Yep.
But Phil Jackson knew how to work it. He was there with Michael and Scotty. Same thing. Scottie Pippen would have been. Scottie Pippen
Same exact thing.
Pippen would have been the number one player on most NBA teams back in that time.
Absolutely.
But he knew Michael was the man, and he played that role. Kind of like Dennis Rodman. They bring him in.
Well, Dennis Rodman,
He was a rebounder
he was
and a defensive player.
But before he came there, he led the Spurs in scoring one year.
Yeah.
I mean, he accepted a role to play at the Bulls.
Yep.
And that means he didn't have to score often.
Right.
But when Pippen went down, what was that? Their 5th championship? Pippen went down, and he went in and he scored his points. He averaged 22 points a game during the playoffs. Well, Pippen was down.
Rodman knew how to win because he was with the bad boys in Detroit.
Rodman is one of the most intelligent basketball players to ever play the game.
Yeah, he was crazy.
He knew how to piss you off. I mean, you can't help but like Rodman if you're a true old school basketball fan.
He was a little off his rocker.
Well, he was nuts. But when he came to the basketball court, he knew his job.
Oh yeah.
And he played people.
Yep.
He played the head game. And the most experienced people would fall into that.
But that's what I'm saying. You're
Best
talking
rebounder
about-
of all time, bar none.
You're talking about Auburn, and if you look at their roster, I bet they've got sophomores, juniors that are leading that team, and they've played together for 2-3 years. And when you can get that cohesive unit out there, I mean, look at those UConn teams. They had guys that were there for a while.
Yep.
They had senior leadership. They had that on that team. And I think that's who you're going to see win these tournaments from here on out are, I mean,
Your veterans that played together.
Guys who are senior leaders, and they've got the guys who have been there for a couple of years, and they know each other's game. They know, okay, if I give it off to that guy, he's driving to the hoop. I better crash the board. If they give it to him, he's going to pop it from 3. I got to be in this spot to be ready for that rebound. But when you get these, freshmen, look at the Fab Five back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought they were going to dominate college basketball.
Right.
They were good, but they never won.
That's because someone
Whoever
tried to
called
cut
the
time out.
But even that, I mean, you can get these great recruits out of high school, but they've only got 1 year to work with each other, and then they're going to the NBA.
I love that you brought up the Fab Five. I mean, that's history.
Mm-hmm.
That's history. UNLV, when they're run. I know that it turned out all the players are getting paid when they weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, that still was a collection of players that in college basketball they'd never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
They were winning by 30 points plus.
Yeah.
And then get upset in the championship game.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's be honest, another team that's like that gets all the recruits that never does anything with it is Kansas.
Yeah.
As much as I grew up a Kansas fan and everything, they've always had really good teams, but
Now they did win a natty just a few years ago.
no,
Yeah.
they have the history.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is their track record shows,
Yeah.
like when
And-
they lost to Bucknell.
And aren't they the lowest seed ever to win a championship? At 7?
Danny and the Miracles.
Yeah.
They were a 6 seed.
You were 6 seed?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were in the running to try to rematch
I was
that.
at the Big 8 tournament that year at Kansas City at Kemper Arena. Saw some great players. Wayman Tisdale from Oklahoma. Danny Manning was playing at that time.
Danny Manning, the $1 million man.
Yeah.
He was the first one to come out of college to get one of those contracts.
And he didn't do much.
No.
No,
Not
But-
in the pros.
no,
But
he never did.
that's the thing. You look, you're recruiting kids out of high school, you bring them into college, you don't know what they're going to do. Same thing. Guy could have a great the best of this one is Ralph Sampson from Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Player of the year 2 years in a row. Had a great career in college. Comes into the NBA. Has knee problems. Can't really get it going. Another one from recent, Zion Williamson.
Yep, Zion can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
You ever notice those big guys? They just don't. The Chinaman, Yao Ming. He couldn't stay healthy in the NBA either.
But you did have some guys that were. You had David Robinson. He stayed healthy and had a great.
But he
NBA.
didn't weigh
Duncan.
315 pounds.
Patrick Ewing.
Tim Duncan.
Patrick
Tim
Ewing,
Duncan.
Patrick Ewing, though, on the other hand, was a 270 guy, and he was only 6'11".
Yeah, but Yao Ming wasn't that big.
Yao Ming was a 7'2", 300-pound guy.
Yeah, but he wasn't big like Zion.
No.
You know.
That's what I'm saying.
What's surprising to me is because he never really took care of his body that well, but Shaq never really got hurt that much.
No.
But he was a workout man. He
wasn't.
Yeah, he was. He was a rat. He hung out with Kobe Bryant in the weight room.
Later in his career, he
maybe.
didn't work out.
You're right. At Orlando, he didn't. But when he got to the Lakers, when he won the championships with Kobe, he was following Kobe around like a lost puppy.
But look at him when he played for Orlando. He was big, but he wasn't that big.
No,
when he went to LA, yeah, he got a little bit bigger, but that guy was just a beast.
He was a beast.
He was a beast. He had a mentality. It's sort of like when you look down someone and you think you're going to get in a fight with someone, you can see it in their eyes if they're dangerous or not.
Oh yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal, he was dangerous.
So in my blind ranking video I did this week, Shaq came up, and I had Cream, some other ones come up, but Shaq to me is probably the most dominant center ever.
Whoa, that's going way too far. Seriously, that's way too far.
Who's better?
Again,
Hakeem, Wilt
Chamberlain, Bill
Russell, all of them are above him.
Ewing.
David Robinson, Ewing, definitely Ewing.
I'm not saying
I don't think
Shaq doesn't belong up there in the mention with those guys, but again,
But he can't go above them.
again, it comes down to what you saw. I mean, I watched Patrick Ewing. I watched David Robinson. I mean, and I know, Brian, you're younger than us.
I watched the tail end of David
Even
Robinson.
Duncan. You got to put Duncan in
He's
there.
a power forward.
Well, he is and he isn't. The reason he was power forward was because they had the Admiral. They had David Robinson.
Power forward.
Well, when he was at Wake Forest, he wasn't.
No,
He was
but
there.
at the
Yeah,
Spurs,
he
he's
was
always
pro.
been a
Yeah,
power
That's
forward.
because they had David Robinson.
But even after Robinson, he was their power
Because
forward.
that's
They
what
never
he
moved him
played.
to center.
Because that's what he played and that's where he
that's what-
learned.
Okay, but what I'm saying is he's power forward.
Yeah.
Period.
But you
Okay, I'll
consider
give you that.
Duncan a big man.
guess.
I mean Duncan, even though he played power forward,
They had the Twin Towers. I mean, that was the Spurs staple. They had the Twin Towers. They had the Admiral. They had Duncan, and Duncan was the quiet giant.
Yeah.
And he would have been a center anywhere else in the league. But you can't move the Admiral out of center.
but again,
No, I get that.
again, Shaq was the last true what I would call big man that dominated in the NBA.
Yes,
The game, just like
it changed.
just like in the NCAA, has changed. It's gone away from pounding the ball down on the inside.
Has it though?
Yes, it has.
No.
You still have
Historically, it
guys
has.
that drive. Here's the thing. I've been doing a lot.
There is not a national championship that's happened in the last 10 years that hasn't had a run game.
No, that's what I'm saying. They get out and run.
No.
What we're saying is down in the block. You don't. It's not a post
You
up
don't
game.
see guys post
Oh.
up. That's what I'm saying. You
That's
don't
what
see
he's
guys
saying.
post
Well,
up.
you said that about college football. And college football, the run game is still the most important part of the game.
I wasn't talking about.
He's not talking
Okay.
about the run game,
Man,
Jeff.
the post.
He's talking about the post up game. That's
Okay.
what he's talking about.
I'm talking about a big man underneath.
You haven't
Shaq
seen
was
a-
the last one in the NBA.
You haven't
Yes.
seen a big guy post up like the one that could have
They had the Purdue
was
guy.
Dwight Howard.
They had the Purdue guy,
I think Dwight Howard.
Edie,
Yeah, Zach Edey.
Zach Edie.
Dwight Howard could have if he would have had a better work ethic.
shit.
Seriously, he had the body
Yes,
for it.
absolutely.
He just didn't have the work ethic.
Anthony Davis could be a big guy that
Yeah,
dominated.
he gets hurt too much. Though.
But he does. He does just stay out on the
But
court.
the thing is, why are these guys getting hurt? Because they're not doing the post up anymore.
No.
They got to run.
They gotta run.
They got to get out and run the court. If they see they don't have numbers, then they pull it back out and maybe they try to look inside. But
The old school guys could not play nowadays. They couldn't.
No. You put the old school rules in play, and they can play today.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about now. In these time periods, they could not because their conditioning wouldn't have been good enough for it.
The conditioning ain't
Because-
the problem.
yes,
The
it
rules
is.
are the problem.
the
The
thing-
rules are the problem.
I don't agree.
Those guys were just as conditioned. Just as conditioned. The rules are the problem. You can't touch nobody anymore.
I
You used to be
agree.
able to hip check. You can't hit a three when someone's got their fucking hand in your fucking ribs. Now you can't touch the guy. You do this, it's a
Yeah.
fucking foul.
I get
And
it.
then you got some guy going, oh, when he didn't even get hit and falling down, and they call him the fucking goat. Jesus Christ, today's a fucking bunch of shit.
Here's the thing.
It's the rules that change the game. It's not the players. They were just as fit back then. They were.
I disagree.
I don't. That's horse shit.
But
They put just the work in as they do now.
The thing is, you didn't see them coming out as
No.
much back then. So they were getting up and down.
Well, you
that
didn't have
court.
load management then.
Right.
Well,
that's what I'm
because
saying.
load managers is a bunch of pussy bullshit.
I'm not disagreeing with
I
you.
mean, woke fucking shit. Are you kidding me?
You know,
God,
you look at one guy.
Kawhi is just such a lousy piece of shit. I mean, Jesus Christ, go home and talk to your fucking mama. Load management.
You know,
The greats. Your Michael Jordans, your Reggie Millers, your Hakeem Olajuwons, Parker, Duncan. Do you know why they had to play hurt? Because that fan came to watch you. And this may be the only time they get in the stadium. And if you don't show up, they don't get to see you.
I agree.
And that's not fair. That's not fair to the fans who pay your salary.
well,
So load management is a crock of shit.
I'm not
Here's-
disagreeing with you.
here's the thing anymore. If you look, and I've been doing a lot of high school basketball recently, with tournaments and everything else, districts, sub-districts. What I think has ruined, especially on the high school level, is the three-point line. And here's why I say that. Because you look at what scoring was back before it came in or right after it really came in is I think scoring is up because now you watch these kids come back at halftime. Every single one of the starters is out behind that three-point line shooting.
Yeah.
They're not practicing free throws. They're not practicing driving to the hoop. They're not practicing any of that. You do have some guys that can shoot the three. Okay, let them sit out there, run plays, get them open, pop it.
Everybody wants to be Steph.
That's it.
Everybody wants to be Steph.
So my age group was probably the transitionary period for that. Because in high
Yeah, but you got trained to flop.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you is that we practiced driving in both hands and everything.
Right.
But we also had charge practice.
Mm-hmm.
Where you literally put a mat down on the floor and you took a charge. Trying to sell it. It's part of the game.
It's not.
I'll be honest
It's supposed
with
to
you.
be.
It is.
No. I will say this. Taking a charge is part of the game.
Yes.
Yes.
But
A real charge.
But flopping when you don't even get hit,
No, I get that.
Understand. Stand there and
100%.
take the hit.
Which is why LeBron should never be in the top 5. Because he is the biggest flopper of all time.
Or he's using the rules to his
He is not using the rules. He's faking the rules.
See,
how's he faking the rules?
Because he didn't get touched and he falls down. So the ref thinks you got hit. That's not right.
and
Only
here's
got
where
50,000 points.
here's where I'm gonna agree.
Oh, Jesus
Here's-
Christ.
Okay, but
He
how
played
many
for
more
100
years has he
years.
played than?
He played less games than Michael. He took
No,
less
he
shots than
didn't.
Michael. He's taken less shots than
Whoa,
Michael.
that's not even
Look
right.
it up. He's taken less shots than Michael.
I don't think so because
Look
Not
it
even
up.
close.
Guarantee
the
it.
other
100%.
day that was marking them age by age at like 25,
Yeah.
30, 35, 40, all that stuff, and Michael had more.
Michael would
shots
not be able to play
Michael
nowadays.
Jackson. Whoa.
And this is the reason why.
Whoa, he'd score 50 on
this is
because
the
they couldn't
reason why.
touch him.
No, this is the reason why is because of social media. He would not be able to handle it. He couldn't
Bullshit.
handle the bullshit with the gambling, so he bailed for a
He
year.
didn't bail for a year over gambling.
Come
He
on
bailed for a
now.
year because his dad got shot in a parking lot.
We all watched The Last Dance.
We did all watch The Last Dance. We did. And him taking a year off still didn't fucking matter. That's his load management. Got his mind right.
That's right.
Here's the thing. LeBron.
Do you really believe that shit you're saying?
Absolutely.
But I'm going to tell you this: LeBron wouldn't have been able to play back then.
Absolutely not. Pussy motherfucker.
He's the only guy that could.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. He's the only one that's taking care of his body
Okay.
He
anywhere
takes
close.
care of his body.
He's playing at an MVP level at age 41, for fuck's sake.
He is not playing at an MVP level right now.
How is he not?
Here's
What do
the
you
thing.
mean, why is he not? He's averaging
His team's in the-
22 points a game.
Here's why I'm going to say he couldn't. Okay, back then, with the way the rules were,
Physical.
He's a fucking beast.
He is not.
I'm not going to
Yes,
say.
he is.
I'm not going to say he's not
He would
physically
put Michael
fit.
to shame.
Oh, bullshit. Michael would run the floor on him
Michael's-
all day long.
Michael had
All
to get in.
day long.
Michael had to get in the weight room.
No.
Yes,
Michael
he
did
did.
go to the right room because he knew he had a deficiency because he had to beat the shit out of Detroit Pistons. They were mean. They were crude, and they put their fists in you. They put their elbows on you, and it was legal to do so. It was hack. It was hack him. And when he got hacked, do you know what he did? He got up, he went and shot his free throws, and he jammed it down their fucking throat.
Hey,
he didn't
Steven.
go crying.
Steven,
My ass. Cut your shit.
Read that.
Read it out loud. I don't know what it says. Say it out loud.
oh, that's games. Yeah, games. He's played more games.
No.
I said more shots.
Jordan set his record in 1,072 games over 15 seasons. James surpassed it in his 1,500th appearance over 22 seasons. That's what I'm saying.
He took more shots. Look at his shot totals.
All right.
Look it up.
Seriously.
I'm
And
telling
I'm
you.
not disagreeing. I still think Michael's the best of all time.
Best of
I'm
all
not-
time.
He would not. His ego is so, I would say, fragile.
Whose?
Michael.
Michael's ego is not fragile.
Yes,
Holy
He's got a
shit.
fragile ego, dude.
Never fragile.
Okay.
Does he get mad when you talk shit?
Why do you
You
think?
know why?
Why do
Because
you
then he
think?
pisses you. Then he pisses down your
Through the
throat.
first 15 years, okay, this is the first
Okay.
15 years of Michael and LeBron. Michael had 24,500 attempts. LeBron had 22,000 attempts. 1,143 games for LeBron, 1,072 games for Michael. All right. LeBron played 44,000 minutes, and Michael played 41,000 minutes. So LeBron played more games and more minutes. But
So okay, let's be honest here.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. If LeBron
Yeah.
wanted to be the scorer all the time, he would have more points.
No.
He does not.
He has always wanted to be the
He's
scorer.
not a true scorer. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He's not a true scorer. He's a driving scorer. He's not a 3-point shooter. He's not.
here's the thing. Michael could take the shot from anywhere on the court. He was a jump shooting, but he could drive when he had to.
Yeah.
He could do both of them.
Sure.
And you look who Michael played with. Pippen,
Yeah.
who was another scorer.
Sure.
You take LeBron, and they make the dream team with Wade.
Every
Bosh.
year.
The first dream team was the Bulls.
Bullshit.
We'll just say that.
It was not.
Yes, it was.
And they got it through the
Absolutely.
draft.
I don't care.
No,
I don't care. They built a team. They brought in Rodman. They brought in the guy from over in Europe. They brought
Kukoc? Kukoc was shit.
The first three championships.
He was the one of the ties draft picks.
He
He was
drafted,
shit.
though.
I don't
The first-
care. What I'm saying is they didn't bring
That
him
was
into
not a super
college.
team.
The first three championships that the Bulls won were all built off the draft.
The first super team was actually Boston. Was the first super team.
I'll give
So
you that.
if you really
How about the
want,
Lakers?
if you really
How about
want,
the Lakers?
okay, so why
'Cause
does
they went on a
LeBron
Boston
get the
team.
fucking bullshit all the
Because
time?
he switches
Because
teams every 4 years. He gets the coach fired. He hires the one he wants. Then he gets the best players boxed out of town. He brings in the ones he wants.
No, he
he
doesn't.
brings in the yes men so that he can deal with everything. And he's the coach on the thing. And then when he thinks it's not working because he fucked up on hiring all those people, then he leaves town, leaving them screwed to go to the next town to get the coach fired, to get the best players on the team fired. He is a cancer. He's
Okay.
a wrecker.
Hold on.
He's done
So
it 4 times.
How long was he in Cleveland before he left?
Okay.
7 years? 6, 7 years?
Yep.
Okay. Did them teams have any reason to be in the playoffs, let alone the NBA Finals?
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely not. Do you blame him for leaving?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Why couldn't you do that there?
Look at
Because
Jordan's,
they wouldn't do anything.
Jordan
look at
did it.
Jordan's first few
Please.
years with the Bulls.
They were
in
terrible.
the playoffs.
They were horrible. They had horrible players.
They were
They had
in the
horrible
playoffs.
coaches.
And you look at, and the thing is, when you look at the Celtics from back in the day, you look at the Lakers from back in the day, you look at the Bulls. And the
God damn it. You're making me drink.
Okay.
They built theirs to the draft. This is what I'm saying about LeBron. When he went to Miami, Wade was already there.
Yeah, Wade was there. That was his team.
LeBron and Bosh
It was
came
still
down
his
there.
team.
LeBron and Bosh came down there
Even had a LeBron
to
guy
win
there.
titles.
Yes.
Am I right?
No, I'm not. You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
That's what I'm saying about LeBron. He went down there to win titles and brings in Bosh with him. and
Okay,
brings
so
out-
now, should that team have ever lost the title?
No.
But they
They
did.
didn't.
They did. To who? The Mavericks.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, what were you saying?
But what I'm saying is that, like, if they're a super team, right? They're supposed to be the super
They
team.
were.
They were.
But they should never ever lost the championship.
They should have.
Okay.
But
now,
LeBron was weak.
Now, who
And
else
that's why
has
that
done
happened.
the same thing?
Well, Jordan did.
Kevin
because-
Durant can't win with
because-
anybody else.
Because Jordan's 6-0 in the playoffs.
Kevin Durant had
Or
to go join
finals.
Steph.
Right.
6-0 in the finals.
No, I'm not saying that about Durant. That's what I'm
Whoa!
saying.
Now you
You've
bring
got-
Durant into this.
It's the same thing.
It is not. Durant's soft,
How is
Durant-
it not the same thing?
and he bounces around
No,
from
no,
team
no.
to team.
I'll agree with you on that. Durant
the same
does the
thing that
same
LeBron
thing
did.
LeBron does.
Yeah, absolutely. They're part of a weak
But-
generation of basketball players.
It's what
And Durant and LeBron are
It's what
You're right.
It's what the
They're the
NBA
same.
players are doing right now. Now, I will say this about Golden State.
Steph Curry didn't leave,
No,
Curry's
but he
in the
brought
same
in-
place.
He brought in Durant.
but
That's what I'm saying.
he still stayed at his own place.
But
I'm not saying
Curry was winning titles before he brought Durant in.
I agree with you.
So what I'm saying is, you've got these guys who are jumping around now trying to get that title.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do now.
This is my thing. The NBA's broken.
Yeah.
Period. It's been broken for
But it's
years.
because of players like LeBron, Durant, Kawhi. That's what broke it. Those are the people who broke it.
LeBron has never not played out his contract.
Oh my God, he sits out when he's losing, when he's
He's
mad,
never-
when he's
he's
mad.
always-
I got an ankle problem. Shit, he
Jeff,
got carried off the
Jeff.
field for a cramp.
Jeff, he's never left his contract early.
No.
No, but he hasn't played it out either.
Who has?
Michael Jordan, Steph Curry.
Jordan didn't.
Jordan didn't leave early,
No.
ever.
No, what I'm saying is who's the ones that they didn't. Durant's one of the biggest ones.
Durant is. You're not.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm not.
Luka. No, but Luka got traded.
Well,
Luka
okay,
got
but
traded.
he wanted to be traded.
He did not.
Nah, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Nah,
he
he
said
didn't.
he wanted to be a Maverick for life.
Yeah.
He did not want to go to LA.
Nah. And they're going to win a championship eventually. Not this year, but next year, I bet. Because Luka's shit.
Okay, now let me ask you
Makes me
this.
mad.
Let me
I
ask you
fucking
this.
hate that.
Did the Lakers screw themselves by bringing Bronny in? Because that's
Yes!
what LeBron wanted.
Oh my
I'm asking
God.
Brian this one.
To me, it was the biggest media
Did you
ploy.
Did you waste a draft pick on him by bringing him in?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not gonna deny that.
Right.
They
The only
took him in the second round.
The only reason that he's in the NBA.
They could have waited until the seventh round and still, Bronny would have still been there.
I'm not disagreeing. Like, they could have signed him as a free agent.
Absolutely. They could have waited until the next day.
But what I'm saying is, like,
No one's taking that kid.
he wasn't going to pass up the opportunity to play with his son.
Right.
Obviously. Did the Lakers have to use a draft pick? Probably
No.
not. But,
Because no one else was taking him.
no, but, like, he was at USC. What did he average 4 points a game?
Some shit like that.
But, like,
Yeah. And see, that's where I run into issues with.
But that shows you LeBron's running that team. That coach is a headpiece. He's not a real coach. He's not setting the lineups.
have real
He's not
coaches
setting
in
how
the
things are
NBA
played.
don't have real coaches.
Oh, that's not true.
The only one that I
Steve
can
Kerr.
Steve Kerr, and then
Popovich?
Miami, the Miami kid.
Oh yeah.
He's been there since LeBron, so he's.
Miami kid is a good one.
But
Popovich,
Gary Popovich.
he ain't paying no
but
bullshit.
Popovich probably.
What's
done.
Denver's guy?
Um.
He ain't taking
Yeah,
no
he's not
bullshit
going.
either. The Knicks coach, Rondo for the Celtics. There's a lot of good coaches out there.
No, there's.
Oh,
See,
stop it.
I will
The
say
players
this.
are not running
NBA.
this league.
The players run the NBA.
On most teams. On most teams. There are a few teams where the coaches still run up their way.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
well,
say
that's coming to an
you got to
end, I
give
think.
Kerr credit out at Golden State. He's
No, yeah,
managed
he's about the
all
only
of
one.
them. But here's what I'm going to say.
The problem is he's got to find a new superstar.
I'm gonna liken LeBron to a Major League Baseball player from a few years ago, and that's Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez started off in Seattle, couldn't win.
Mhm.
Thought he had a shot going to Texas. Signed big money going to Texas
That
to try
flopped.
to win. They couldn't win down there with him. Where does he end up?
The Yankees.
The Yankees to win titles. On
And
a
what did
team-
he do? Win one.
No, he won 1-1.
No, he didn't. 2009 was the only year they won.
I
with
thought
him.
he had 2. But he comes to a team with Jeter, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera. You know,
They've always been loaded.
but a lot of those guys were in the system. Jeter was in the system.
No, yeah.
Posada. That's what I like seeing. I like seeing these teams that build their system. You get too much free agency in all the sports anymore in the pros. And when you get that free agency, you get teams like
That's why I
Minnesota.
That's why I like
Yeah.
the Cavs.
Not the Cavs.
The Cavs right
No,
now.
they're the best team
this
in
year.
basketball
They're
right
the best
now.
team in the Eastern Conference
And
right
they built
now.
it.
Well, they are
And
by
have
record.
built it through the draft.
They built it through the draft.
You know, you look at
They have.
Kevin Durant.
They've done it the right way. The problem is they don't play good enough defense, and they're not going to go deep in the playoffs.
Another one is Oklahoma State, built out of the draft.
Oklahoma City, yep.
Or Oklahoma, yeah.
Oklahoma City, oh my God, that's a great team right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they have good energy. Their team is playing as a team. Their coach is in control of the situation. Everybody is respectful, and like you said, it was built through the draft, and it's done the right way.
Yes.
All right,
I'm
guys.
not an OC fan, but I'm rooting them on.
We are almost out of time here.
We
and
are.
I do want to take a few
And I'm
minutes.
sorry that we went to the NBA, but damn.
I do want to take a few minutes before we go off the air. This weekend, the mini NCAAs happen. Nebraska wrestling, Big Ten wrestling tournament is happening this weekend. Nebraska has a lot of guys ranked in the top 3 going into this tournament. I don't know if you guys follow wrestling much through Nebraska.
Very little.
Our 125-pounder Caleb Smith's going in ranked number 2. Our 133 is going in ranked 6th, I believe, or 7th, Jacob Van D. Then we go on to a run. Our 141, Brock Hardy, ranked 3rd. Our 149, Rich Lovett, defending Big Ten champion, is ranked 3rd. He should have been ranked a little bit higher. The top 3 in 149, just to give you guys a little backstory. Penn State, Shane Van Ness, Lovett beat him. Number 2, Kyle Parko out of Iowa. Van Ness beat him. Parko beat Lovett. So those top 3 all beat each other this year in a round robin. We go to 157, Chris Minto. He is ranked 3rd going into this tournament. Or no, Antrell Taylor is our 157. He's ranked 3rd. Chris Minto, our 165, is ranked 3rd. Our 174, Lenny Pinto, ranked 3rd. Our 184, Silas Allred, ranked 3rd. Our 197 and our heavyweight, they're down there. They're going to have some work to come through to try to make it into the NCAAs. But the rest of that group is set to make one great run for the University of Nebraska this weekend at the Big Tens.
And just so y'all know, if you don't know, this is the voice of Husker Wrestling, Derek Long. I'm proud to have him on the show. I'm proud to have him as a friend. And listen to him. He brings excitement to everything he does. Everything he does.
You guys brought the excitement tonight, man. I'm going to say that right now. That's my job is to get these two arguing. And I did a great job of that tonight. But if you're not a wrestling fan, cheer them on. Another Beatrice guy runs a score clock for the University of Nebraska, Tim Freyland.
Yeah.
He runs a score clock for him. And, it's always good being up there with Tim. But, 10 years ago, I've been doing that for 10 years with wrestling. When they called me and asked me, I had already accepted the volleyball position at the university. They called me, they said, hey, our wrestling announcer backed out. Will you come do this? I had never been to a wrestling match at any level. I watch WWF. I watch Hulk Hogan and Rock and all those guys.
That's
They
not
said
what
it's
you're
a
looking
little
at.
bit different.
Way
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
But I will tell you what, in those 10 years, I have come to love that sport. I have come to meet a lot of great people. Here's how bad it was. The very first night I was there, I was walking out, and this little black guy that was pretty jacked stopped and talked to me for about 10 minutes. And I had no idea who he was. It was Jordan Burroughs. Olympic gold medalist, NCAA champion, all this. One of the greatest guys you will ever meet. And
Yeah.
I have just met some great guys over the years. Coach Manning and his staff are great people. And I've got to meet some great guys from other schools, too. Tom and Tom and Terry Brands are the coaches for Iowa. And people in Nebraska hate those guys. Big Tens were up at Lincoln a few years ago at PBA, and I got the privilege of announcing all of that. Tom Brand sent me a personal email following that, thanking me and telling me what a good job I did for that out there. And that meant a lot.
Nice.
The Penn State coaches came up to me afterwards this year and talked to me a little bit. And, Cale Sanderson's the head coach of Penn State. He is the only wrestler in the history of NCAAs to go 4 years undefeated.
I want to bring up a moment that you told me about that shows how crucial your job is to these sports that you do. You were at the Bob one night, and all the PA went out, and you couldn't do nothing. And then they finally came back on. What did John Cook say to you afterwards?
He came up to me afterwards and, well, first off, he said, "I hope they're only paying you half tonight." And I said, "Well, maybe 3/4." And actually, it was the assistant coach, Jalen Reyes, came and stood by me and asked me to keep announcing so he could hear it because he can't coach without hearing what I'm saying. And so I'm sitting there without a microphone and I'm still calling the game. And then when the PA did come back up, that was senior night against Michigan 2 years ago. When the PA did finally come back on and I called that first kill, the place erupted. It was great. It was I loved it. It was awesome. But
I remember when you were first going for the job, auditioning for it, and I know it wasn't for the volleyball, but on the other hand, I remember walking by the service center and you were practicing over the intercom. That was just
done that a couple times.
it was love. It was love, man, and I can't tell you how proud I am to have been your friend and a part of the process
Yeah, I appreciate it.
and the road.
And then 2 weeks from now, I get taken another step higher. I get to go do Love Volleyball up in Omaha.
Yeah, that's
So I
right.
get to hit the professional
You're going to
ranks.
professional ranks.
Nice.
So
And and no matter what he says about what we did tonight, he's the taker. He's the controller, and he's our voice. I do want to say some few things before he signs us off, though. We're going to put together an ESPN bracketology for our fans. So next one, I'm going to tell you how to get on and the password to get on, so that you guys can go straight up against us in the pick'ems. And so we're going to pick a bracket.
and if one of you happens to win, we may have a special gift for you.
Absolutely. We're going to talk to our sponsors, and we got Strump, which is a professional barber here in town. He does straight edges, and look at this shit, smooth as hell. And we also have the lawn care,
Scott's Lawn Care.
Scott's Lawn Care, and they do not just lawn care, they also do snow removal and things along that lines. So if you need anything, get on our page, ask. We'll give you all the stuff. You can go to our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. It has all their information on it. So you can help support us by supporting our sponsors.
Yep.
And also, please, if you're on any of our social media, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Please.
Absolutely.
We're not trying to.
We're not trying to make money here.
No.
We just want more followers. The more followers we have, the more impact.
I love it when I'm going somewhere and I see people and they're like, "Hey, man, we love Tailgate Talk. It's awesome. Love listening to you guys." We're not professionals at this. We're just a bunch of guys that we love the games. We love sports. Football is our passion, but
anything with a ball.
You talk to that's Jeff, and you take basketball, baseball, volleyball, wrestling, any of that stuff. We love it. We follow it. We've got our teams. Yeah, we may not be quite up to speed on some of the NCAA and that, but we do know some about it, especially the history of it.
We're going to get more in tune with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
As we start to talk about it, we'll be following it more. Now football's over. Football takes a lot of our time.
Yeah.
Because we love football.
Yep.
In and out, and we're going to go back to football after this March Madness because we'll have the draft, things like that. Then we're going to hit NBA.
Yep.
For the playoffs, and as you can tell, every time we get on the NBA, me and Brian we disagree. So there will be some very heated arguments once we get to the NBA. We're going to have some best of shows where we're going to cut, give the last 15, 20 minutes to best running back of all time, best basketball player of all time, best football icon of all time, things along those lines. We're going to cover those things. Derek is going to lead the way in that, which will bring us a whole new perspective if you watched us since 2022.
We're also going to talk after March Madness. We're going to get into a little bit of Major League Baseball, as that will be starting up as well. So we'll kind of hit that in the NFL draft for a while. We'll carry over into that. You know, like I said, we just want to bring you as much fun and entertainment as we can on a Thursday evening. You know, we appreciate each and every one of you spending an hour with us, or a little over an hour sometimes. You know, sometimes we just want to keep talking. We want to keep talking. I would love to do this for 3 to 4 hours a night.
Absolutely.
But I know that would keep some older people up past their bedtime.
And that said, one other thing. So this is our new studio, by the way. You can see we're starting to decorate the wall and stuff. If y'all have any suggestions of what you'd like to see on our wall, please put it on there. If you guys want to do a donation to the wall, hey, we're up for it. I don't like Texas stuff. I don't like Dallas stuff. This is my house, so I'm only going to allow limited stuff for the teams I can't stand. I'm going to have to allow a few of them in because they're on our board. But as fans, you can bring stuff in. We'll see what we can do.
Is Braden watching us right now?
Braden was watching this. I had to restart, so I don't know if he's on or
Okay,
not.
Braden, if you're still watching, maybe you could get a pair of your dad's Spider-Man underwear from back in the day. And we can hang those.
Spider-Man underwear.
Yeah, Brian was well known for wearing those. Thanks to Jason Sand. A shout out to him for bringing that to everybody's attention. But maybe Braden can grab a pair of those and we can hang those up at some point in time. But we do appreciate each and every one of you out there. We're going to try to get this more interactive with our fans. We're going to maybe do some call-ins. We're going to maybe do some, things there that we can get you interacting with us. Maybe you have some questions for us. Maybe you have some insight that we don't on things. We would love to hear about that. We will see you all again next Thursday night from right here inside Studio Day Green. From all of us with Tailgate Talk, have a great weekend. And you've been watching Tailgate Talk Nebraska, and
We know sports.